The world of professional wrestling has given us many great heroes. We venerate these wrestlers during their lifetimes and commemorate them upon their deaths. Join Facts First as we present These Pro Wrestlers Died Without Notice and Had Tragic Deaths. Sodbuster Kenny Jay. Sodbuster Kenny Jay was born as Kenneth Johnson on March 27, 1937. He was a well-known wrestler who rose to prominence in the 60s and 70s. He was best known as a member of the National Wrestling Alliance. He had a brief stint in the Army but was best known for his wrestling career and jumped into his career not having much work experience in other fields. He began his career in the late 50s and soon became known for his tough and often ruthless and vicious style. His signature move was the Sodbuster suplex. These abilities and his obsession with the sport gained him the reputation as one of the toughest wrestlers of his generation. His love for wrestling continued even after he retired. He eventually became a promoter and was instrumental in launching the Central States Wrestling promotion in the 80s. He's also credited for bringing wrestling to cable television. He helped introduce wrestling to ESPN and other popular sports networks. He died February 2, 2023 at age 85. While his death hasn't been reported as much, those who are passionate about wrestling were saddened by his passing. Those who worked in the industry from the 60s to the 80s know about his incredible contribution to the sport. Lanny Poffo. Lanny Poffo was a pro wrestler born December 28, 1954 in Calgary. Some people may say his life and career was overshadowed by his older brother, the wrestler Randy Savage, also known as Macho Man. Lanny Poffo is known best for his stint in the World Wrestling Federation, WWF. He performed under the name The Genius. He began his wrestling career in the late 70s, wrestling for a variety of organizations. These included Championship Wrestling from Florida and the National Wrestling Alliance. In 1985, he joined the WWF as The Genius, and this was his career breakthrough. He became known for his intellectual prowess and flamboyant personality. He would often recite poetry and hurled frisbees that had inspirational messages written on them to the crowd of adoring fans. He even published 2 books, one that included poems and limericks. Apart from his wrestling skills, the Genius was also known for his feuds, most notably with Hulk Hogan. He was part of a tag team with Mr. Perfect, and the two of them won the WWF Tag Team Championship in 1990. He left the WWF in '92 but didn't stop wrestling. He moved on to wrestle for several other organizations, including the World Championship Wrestling and Extreme Championship Wrestling. He retired in 2018 and spent the remainder of his years in Florida, but he died in New York City on February 2, 2023 at age 68. It was the same day Sodbuster Kenny Jay died. Erich Froelich. Erich Froelich was a German-born Canadian professional wrestler and promoter. He was born on May 3, 1937 in West Germany. He was different from other wrestlers. He often wrestled barefoot and was lauded for his acrobatic style moves. Plus, he was considered to be a lot more handsome, charming, and nice compared to many wrestlers. His background in gymnastics made him a perfect fit for the world of wrestling, and it wasn't long until he became a wrestling champion. Fans immediately loved him, and the most hardcore wrestling fans still know about him to this day. He continued to attend wrestling events and conventions until his passing. His base was in Vancouver, but he was well known in several U.S. states, as well as Fiji and Japan. He even famously wrestled a tiger. In December 1981, upon the birth of his last son, he decided to retire. His injuries from wrestling caught up to him, and he had to live on disability payments for the rest of his life. But despite these injuries, he stated he never regretted his career. On February 10, 2023, his wife announced his death. He was 85. Jarrett. Jarrett was born July 14, 1942 in Nashville, Tennessee. He's best known as a professional wrestler and a wrestling promoter. He began his career in the 1960s and wrestled under the ring name Jerry King. In 1977, he co-founded the Continental Wrestling Association along with fellow wrestler and fellow Jerry Lawler. This organization was known for its combination blend of sports entertainment and wrestling. While this might be the norm now, it was unique for its time. It became one of the most successful wrestling organizations of its time. He was also lauded for developing other great wrestlers and helping them go far in their careers. This included his friend Jerry Lawler, but also included Austin Idol and Dutch Mantell. In addition, he even started Jarrett Logistics Systems, a transportation and logistics company based in Tennessee. He began his wrestling career as a referee in the early 60s. By the mid-60s, after being trained by prominent wrestlers, he began his wrestling career in 1965. He was especially successful in the first half of the 70s and was notable mostly as a tag team wrestler. He was highly respected, but continued to be famous in the industry due to his promotional work. He retired from wrestling in 2001 and was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2018. He died February 14, 2023, at age 80. Billy Two Rivers. Billy Two Rivers was a pro wrestler and former First Nations chief from the Kahnawake Mohawk territory in Quebec. He was born May 5, 1935, and began his wrestling career in the early 1950s. He wrestled for various organizations throughout Canada and the U.S. He was known for his cultural ring gear, donning his traditional Mohawk clothing and feather headdress. His signature move was the tomahawk chop. This now famous move involved hitting his opponent on the head using a hand chop, a move that's become commonplace in wrestling and in some of your favorite action movies. He was also heavily involved in political life. He served as the chief of the Kahnawake Mohawk Territory from 1982 to 86 and advocated for First Nations rights throughout his life. He retired from wrestling in the late 70s, but his success continued. He went on to become a successful businessman. His entrepreneurial ventures included owning a clothing company as well as several restaurant chains. Billy Two Rivers was an icon for First Nations representation in professional wrestling. He was one of the first Indigenous wrestlers to receive nationwide recognition. He also appeared in several movies, including Pocahontas the Legend, Black Robe, and Taking Lives. He died February 12, 2023, at age 87. Charlie Norris. Finally, we come to the legend that was Charlie Norris. He was born October 21, 1963, in Red Lake, Minnesota. He began his career in the late 80s and became a hit with wrestling fans in the 90s. He wrestled for a variety of promotions, most notably with the Professional Wrestling Association. He was also one of the most notable Indigenous wrestlers. His career lasted from 1989 to 2006 when he retired. Upon retiring, he worked as a personal trainer on the Red Lake Indian Reservation. He passed away February 6, 2023, at age 58. His cause of death has not been disclosed. Now it's time to hear from you. Were you a fan of any of these famous wrestlers? Let us know in the comments section below.